Sri Lankan sailors rescued from Somali pirates reached the Somalian port of Bosaso. The Right to Information Act and National Audit Act are a turning point in the country. Statement from the President. Dengue-related deaths in Trincomalee increases to 14. Calls for details on the agreement reached with the IMF to be revealed to the country. Special training for officers engaged in prison escort. The underworld is no more. Firm stance by the IGP.
Hello there, very good evening to you. You are watching Primetime News. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studio here in Colombo. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
I'm Chaturanga Porach. Let's take a look at the top story of the day.
President Maithripala Sirisena says that the National Audit Act and the Right to Information Act were a turning point for the country's public service and financial management.
The 34th Annual General Meeting of the Sri Lanka Administrative Service Association was held at the Nelumpokuna Theatre today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was also among the distinguished guests that graced the occasion.
To a certain extent, delays in development can be attributed to the strained relationship between the politicians and state officials. When one asks as to why the Regional Development Committee meeting or the District Development Committee meeting had not taken place for months, the answer is that the minister did not give an appointment for the meeting. As a solution to this, at the beginning of this year, we introduced a special calendar that will have a date for the meeting when there are no provincial council sittings or parliamentary sittings. Based on the need and the importance of the meeting, it will be made mandatory for the minister to attend it.
Now on to a story that Newsfirst has been following lately. This morning we found out that the 8 Sri Lankans who were aboard a UAE vessel were released by the so-called pirate or a fisherman, as news reports. Chaturanga?
Yes, we are yet to find out what the latest developments are with regard to this story that we've been following. We have Ramesh Irugal Bandara standing by at the newsroom. Ramesh?
Well, thank you, Chaturanga. Well, it's good news for the Sri Lankans because the Aries 13 vessel was freed very early in the morning today, and according to the information that we have received, it has now reached the port of Bosaso in Somalia. For the latest update on the ground situation, let's go over to Bosaso, where Reuters correspondent Abik Dani Hassan is standing by with this special report.
The ship is arrived in Bosaso port and ceremony postponed as the Vice President of Puntland told us. He said it is too late at this time and it is 6 p.m. and they will start the ceremony of welcoming the crew and saying sorry. It will happen tomorrow morning.
We will be crossing over to Abik Dani Hassan tomorrow as well for the latest updates on this developing story. Meanwhile, we reported yesterday that there were gunfights between the hijackers of the Aries 13 vessel and the Puntland maritime forces who were attacking the vessel in order to free this. Now, video footage of this has emerged today, and this is a look at it. Now, according to the information that we received, those visuals of those wounded individuals were locals in the Puntland area who suffered gunshot wounds during the firefight between the hijackers and the maritime forces. Now, what exactly happened over the past couple of days with regard to Aries 13? Let's take a brief recap at what exactly transpired from the time it left Colombo, headed towards where it was going. So let's take a look. On the 28th of January, Aries 13 departed Colombo and it was heading towards its final destination, rather, was the port of Mogadishu. Now, however, Aries 13 did not go to Mogadishu initially, so it was heading towards Djibouti, which is right over here. After it went to Djibouti, it had to go back to Mogadishu, so it was going back this way over the Horn of Africa when it was attacked in this maritime area by the hijackers. Initially, this is where the Aries 13 vessel lost contact. That was on the 13th of this month. Later we understood that on the 14th of this month that the vessel had been moved to the Alula area, located about 24 kilometers away from the place where it was initially hijacked. Later we understood that there were marine forces of Puntland who attacked the vessel in order to rescue the crew on board, the 8 Sri Lankan crew members on board, and following successful negotiations, the vessel was freed, and it eventually ended up right here in the port city of Bosaso, where it is currently in. According to our Reuters update earlier, the crew members are safe and in the port of Bosaso. They will be welcomed by the Vice President of Puntland at a ceremony scheduled to take place tomorrow. Now, what did the government do? Here is Deputy Foreign Minister Harsha De Silva explaining what the government did in order to save these 8 Sri Lankans on board Aries 13.
The crew told us that they had no idea who was shooting. They said that there were around 70 hijackers on board and that small boats had opened fire after surrounding the vessel. We decided that we had to act immediately and we dispatched our ambassador in Dubai to meet with the owners of the vessel. The situation was serious because they were shooting at an oil tanker. Both Minister Mangal and I received phone calls stating that the crew will be killed within an hour. We called up Minister Abdul Nazir of Puntland and asked him to stop firing. Shortly afterwards, the assault stopped.
ඊට විනාඩි කිහිපයකට පස්සේ අපිට නැවෙන් ආරංචි වුණා වෙඩි තැබීම අත්හිටුවා නැවැත්තුවා කියලා.
We received updates every 2 hours through the G-3C Orion aircraft of the Combined Maritime Forces. They were able to clearly observe what was happening on the vessel as well as what was happening in the water surrounding the vessel.
Now earlier
in the day we were able to speak with the chief engineer on board the Aries 13 vessel.
Until last evening, we did not have any hope about our lives. The pirates had us surrounded. They had weapons as well. This country has a special commando force to attack pirates. The pirates are afraid of this commando force. They surrounded the pirates using 5 boats and started attacking. The pirates were going to shoot us. We felt it, but they could not do it because of the ongoing attack. Then the commandos withdrew. There are around 35 commando soldiers in the ship now. We are to reach Bosaso. They are going to hold an event there for saving us.
Now, Newsfirst was also able to speak with the relatives of Captain Nicholas Anthony, who is the skipper of Aries 13.
We are very sadly feel because our brother-in-law and our other Sri Lankan servant very worry about that one. Yesterday evening, terrible time because that is they are going the crossfire there. So they give some warning 1 hour or 2 hours within. They want to stop this fire, otherwise they will kill these people. So we push government, mostly our ministers, foreign affairs and shipping minister. Then they take a quick action and they stop and they withdraw that place. And then that place is very calm. So and my brother-in-law today early morning 1:30 he called. He told we are safe. Now we are going to Bosaso, we are released, we are going to Bosaso. That only we know.
Now Newsfirst was also able to speak with the father of Aries 13 crew member Ruan Sampath. He shared these thoughts with Newsfirst.
We were saddened when they were taken under hostage, but now they have been freed. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone. It was Teresa who made aware of the situation for the very first time. The process was faster because of this.
Now, Newsfirst was the first local media station in the country to report on the release of Aries 13 at around 1:30 a.m. in the morning this morning, and we will of course keep you constantly updated with regard to this developing story. It's back to the studio. Chaturanga, Stephanie, over to you. Thank you, Ramesh, for that comprehensive update about the Aries 13 ship that was hijacked. As Ramesh said, we will definitely keep you updated on what's happening, and we too are waiting for the arrival of the Sri Lankan crew members on board Aries 13. Thank you, Ramesh, once again.
Your life, our news.
Dengue claimed the life of a 6-year-old, raising dengue-related deaths in the Trincomalee district to 14.
This child from Uarmale in Trincomalee passed away this morning at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital after she was transferred from the Trincomalee-based hospital for further treatment last evening. A correspondent reports that 113 persons are being treated at the Kenya-based hospital for dengue. Specialist doctors dispatched from Colombo commenced treatment at the Kenya hospital today. With the increase in the number of patients, the hospitals in Kenya and Trincomalee are facing issues with accommodating the patients. An old paddy storage facility adjacent to the Kenya hospital has been prepared to accommodate the patients. A special team inclusive of the members of the 3 armed forces carried out a dengue eradication program in Kenya today. The dengue prevention unit of the Ministry of Health said that the newly recruited testing team will commence work tomorrow. The group will inspect identified areas once a week. Our correspondent reported that patients from Kenya have begun to arrive at the Kantali hospital. At a time when health services are raising awareness across the country to keep one's premises clean in order to prevent the spread of dengue, this mountain of garbage was spotted in Wattala. Area residents of Wattala, Handala and Uswara claim that this mountain of garbage is an inconvenience for them. Garbage has been dumped on either side of the Hamilton Canal as well, causing environmental destruction. They say that the garbage will be removed, but no one is looking into this. But when there is garbage in the house, they fine us. No one is looking into this. We cannot travel on the road because there is garbage all over. Don't parliamentarians see this?
There is no permanent solution as there is no permanent dumping ground. If there is a permanent land, we can dispose of this garbage. We have no area to separate the garbage. We have made requests from 2014. If we are given a land, we can solve the issue.
Dr. Mundo de Gum, who is an expert in the information communication technology sector, says that the Google Loon project is not practical for a country like Sri Lanka.
Google Loon technology is used in areas where the population density is very low and usually huge areas where the mobile infrastructure is not available. So, say for example, in a desert or in a forest area or in a hill area where there are only few people and it's not feasible to develop the mobile infrastructure in such an area to provide broadband services to few people. In Sri Lanka, we have connectivity for about 80% of the population. We have 5 mobile operators and 2 fixed line operators providing this connectivity. But actually, not even 25% of the people in the country are using broadband.
While Google partnered with internationally reputed multi-billion-dollar telecommunication companies to test the Loon project in other countries, it was tested in Sri Lanka with a company called Rama Corp, which had been registered in June 2015. According to the website of the Information Communication Technology Agency, or ICTA, several projects have been initiated covering different sectors to promote information communication technology in the country. These projects include the Government Data Center Initiative, the Consolidated Centralized ICT Solution for the EPF and ETF, the E-Samurdir Integrated Welfare Management Program, and the National Security Operations Center, which is a forensic and cyber security infrastructure development project to be implemented across borders. If the ICTA is vested with the task of carrying out major ICT tasks such as this, the question we have is regarding the credibility of this agency. Can we place our trust on the people who are heading the ICTA? Several parties criticized the Google Loon project. They questioned the role of the agency. There was heavy criticism regarding the actions of the board of directors and the CEO of the ICTA. We were able to stop the disaster before it actually happened. What was the criteria that was followed when these appointments were made? What are the qualifications these people possess? If such a mega task is given to them, do they have the capacity to handle it? We should be able to trust these people. This is a serious issue.
Minister of Finance Ravi Kannanayak has called for foreign investors to exploit the ample investment opportunities in Sri Lanka's economy. The minister had expressed these views when addressing the second Sri Lanka Investment Summit being held in Hong Kong.
Issuing a communique, the Minister of Finance states that Sri Lanka has ideal investment opportunities. Now the country is achieving economic prosperity through accelerating growth with social inclusion. He added that the country would reach middle-income status in the near future. According to the communique, the minister says that Sri Lanka has provided many options for discerning investors through a pragmatic implementation of a public-private partnership framework under a win-win situation. It adds that the proposed Colombo International Financial City is another area of viable investment because of its geographical location and because it is open to the huge markets in the SAARC region countries. Finance Asia, the organizer of the investment summit, reports that Minister Karunanayake has laid out an ambitious plan to develop Sri Lanka's capital markets. This includes a bold idea to securitize billions of dollars of government debt by issuing several initial public offerings or IPOs from state-owned enterprises. These could include the mooted IPO of the government-owned Hyatt Regency Hotel. The IPOs will take place within a period of 3 months. Finance Asia reports that the government hopes to securitize between $3 to $4 billion of assets in the coming months, which could help reduce government debt and rein in on the current budget deficit. The article says that the government is now plotting a series of headline-grabbing transactions that will hit the market before the end of the year. The article further quotes the Sri Lankan Minister of Finance, Ravi Karunanayake, as saying that the government wanted to monetize some of its assets by creating a special purpose vehicle, thereby transferring ownership of certain assets to the SPV and then using the SPV to issue bonds to foreign investors.
It is reported that the government is now more or less planning to go ahead with the privatization of the state-owned enterprises, which are either profit-making but not at the highest level of efficiency, or loss-making enterprises to be offered to the foreign investors. Ideally, such transactions should be done more transparent and calling for international expression of interest or tenders. But what is most important is the government should try to do these deals in a most transparent manner so that the government's current image of corruption, which has been reported in several international indexes, if they can avoid, they can create a better image of Sri Lanka's or government's deals of this nature, that would be the best thing that could happen to the Sri Lankan economy.
Canadian parliamentarians touring Sri Lanka have said that the country has the potential to move forward.
The Canadian parliamentarians and their delegation called on Most Venerable Tibbatu Ave Sri Sumangalathero, the Mahanayaka of the Malbatu chapter.
As parliamentarians, we are going to take back the message that there is a lot of hope, there is a lot of potential, and that after 30 years we have seen changes that will be beneficial to both Sri Lanka and Canada. So today's situation is a positive step, and we believe when Canada put in the UN resolution, which was sponsored by Canada, for peace, we are here to measure the progress, and what we have seen from talking to parliamentarians, from talking to ministers, from talking to the President, to the Speaker, and now coming to get the blessings of His Holiness, I think there is a great potential moving forward if everybody works together in a cooperative manner, and we see great potential, and we hope that Sri Lankans see that potential and come back and invest.
The delegation also paid homage to the temple of the sacred tooth relic.
Minister Yoshida Preschool has affirmed the third-party solutions for Sri Lanka will not be successful. Here's what the minister had to say at an event in Batticaloa today.
So hard feelings are everywhere. Every conflict has its own consequences. So government's aim is to prevent such things happen again. Whole situation is very unfortunate. Country small, we have a number of different ethnic groups are living in this country. So in Geneva, I think government has done a lot good for every community. They have taken a very good stand. So I don't think that any external party can solve it. We have to internally find a solution. So when you rely ourselves to solve it by third forces, I don't think it will ever be a successful one. So we will have to find our own solution. I think that is what the government is trying. So everyone has to help the government to find a lasting solution for this problem. My understanding is that in Sri Lanka, we will have to live together as one Sri Lankan nation. We all are Sri Lankans. We have different issues, but we'll have to consider as one Sri Lanka. All are Sri Lankans. Then
Still on local news, the joint opposition alleges that the government is preparing to privatize 5 profit-making state institutions.
As there is a Right to Information Act in place, I challenge for the details to be revealed on the agreements reached with restructuring the 5 institutions. There are conditions imposed on the loans that will be given by the International Monetary Fund. As there is a RTI, the details of the IMF agreement and the conditions should be revealed. The truth must be revealed.
Shots fired at Aruna Damit Udayanga, alias Samayan, at the Kaduwela court premises. Demaragoda Chaminda, a suspect in the Bharata Lakshman homicide, shot at while in a prison transport. Expectant mother injured in a shooting near the Valikada prison. Alleged drug peddler shot at near the Wattala Magistrates Court. Kalutara prison bus ambushed, 7 persons killed. A revolver, a pistol and 10 bullets discovered inside a bag left unattended at the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court.
In recent times, suspects being transported by the Department of Prisons were targeted and some were even killed in the shootings. The Department of Prisons today announced that prison escorts will be provided with special training.
The Department of Prisons says that an agreement on providing special training was reached following discussions with the Inspector General of Police. A selected group of officers will be given training with the Police Special Task Force personnel. Suspects with threats against them will be given protection by officers who will be specially trained. This was discussed with the Inspector General of Police. Thereby, a special group of persons will be trained and they will engage in escorting the prisoners. If required, a police security detail will also be obtained. At present, special training has been given to the intelligence unit. Police have arrested 2 suspects in connection to the shooting of the Kalutara prison's bus recently. One of the suspects is a woman, and police said that she has provided accommodation to one of the suspected shooters. Investigations have also revealed that one of the suspects had used her residence as a hideout for several days after the shooting. The other suspect arrested by police was arrested for spying and is a resident from Pinwatta Panadura. 2 police teams have been attached to the Katunayaka and Mattala airports to prevent the suspects from fleeing the country, while a program is in place to prevent the suspects from leaving by boat.
Sri Lanka police has a program in place to curb organized crime and arrest criminals. Here's a look at more of what the Inspector General of Police had to say on the matter.
එක් පුද්ගලයන් විකල්පනාමයන් භාවිතා කරගෙන කටයුතු කරන අතරේ ඔය කියන පාතාලයක් නොමැත.
Various persons are operating using aliases. The underworld is no more. This is now organized crime. Sri Lanka Police has launched a strong program to arrest these criminals using personnel from the Intelligence Service, Special Task Force, as well as other crimes divisions. When a crime takes place, the people are made aware of that through breaking news in the media. That is required. However, a similar coverage must also be given to the process taken to arrest the suspects and the kingpins. I must make clear that if any person or official or police officer is involved in a crime, there is no place for that person to hide.
The IGP declared open the new police K9 training centre in Kandy as well as the new police barracks built adjacent to the official residences in Askiria.
Minister Sajid Premadasa emphasised the government's commitment towards protecting the war veterans.
Foreign judges will not come here. We will not seek revenge for the great deeds done by the war veterans. We must show gratitude to them. We must build their houses and strengthen the welfare of their families. But sadly, there are statements being made at temples that the country is insecure, the war veterans are subject to a witch hunt, and that Buddhism is losing its place. Buddhism will lose its place when the temple is made a political stage for political gains and not used for religious purposes. The new multi-purpose building in Sinimunna, Lunugambera was vested with the public today by Minister Sajid Premadasa.
A number of events were held today in line with the birthday of UNP parliamentarian Buddha Kapitiyaran.
The Lanka Satusa outlet in Teligivila was declared open under the auspices of MP Buddha Kapitiyaran. As the first parliamentarian from this district, I would like to clearly state we have always paid attention to the future of the children, the youth, the elders, the business community, the labourers and the traders. We are in the process of transforming the lives of these people. It is the start of that transformation that we commenced here today.
The annual walk of the Yoshida Preschool in Sapugaskanda was held today.
The walk commenced at the Yoshida Preschool this morning and ended at the Batalanda Stadium. A large crowd including students, teachers and parents participated in the event. The aim of the walk was to introduce new experiences to the students as well as to train them towards healthy lifestyle.
Nearly 500 preschool students participate in the walk annually. The children are between the ages of 2.5 years and 5 years. This is a huge experience for these children. That's a wrap of Primetime News. I'm Stephen Lazarus.
I'm Saturanga Pawaratchi. Take care and good night.